Zeus, aka Mr. Cross. Yeah. Don't be wrapped up in your feelings and be careful when you flash. And when you play the game, man, you better know your options. Don't try to photocopy when you out here being saucy. It's getting too
Good
spicy.
morning.
I ain't even had my coffee. Don't be wrapped up in your feelings and be careful when you flashing. And when you play the game, man, you better know your options. Don't try to photocopy when you out here being saucy. It's getting too spicy. I ain't even had my coffee. I'm up early in the morning, time to get it in. Time to show.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Trying to get to know you while you're thinking that I'm asking.
I like to get it poppin' cause my sound is supersonic. I done came so far and it's early in the morning. I just woke up out my sleep, threw some water on my face. Yeah, it's just another day in the Golden State. Ain't no tossing.
Good morning.
I know the best way to the drama. All of other people what I promise. And even if I fail, at least I was honest. See, I can only do what's in my power to do. And what good is this power if I use it like a fool? If I wanna make it to the top, I gotta study clues. Or I can sit back and just watch the news. Don't try to photocopy, you can never top me.
I was born to be a winner, you can never stop me.
Don't try to photocopy, you can never top me.
I was born to be a winner, you can never stop me.
Don't be wrapped up in your feelings and be careful when you flashing. And when you play the game, man, you better know your options.
Don't try to photocopy
when you out here being saucy. It's getting too spicy, I ain't even had my coffee. Don't be wrapped up in your feelings and be careful.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Tuesday.
You better know your options. Don't try to photocopy when you out here being saucy.
It's getting too spicy, I
just put my watch on. What time it is and my purpose in this music business. Let's get it in, I'm so.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. You know exactly what we are here to do. All right, let's get started with today's special broadcast. I am so happy you are all here and tuned in, all right? But before we do, let's take care of some housekeeping items. For those of you who do not know who I am, I go by the name Zeus, or as some like to say, Triple H. And why do they call me Triple H, ladies and gentlemen? Well, it's quite simple. The first H is because I'm honest. I am really the most honest person on social media, hands down. That's the first H. The second H, ladies and gentlemen, is because I'm humble. There's nobody more humble than me. Listen, if I get it wrong, I will be the first to apologize, all right? Now, just because your feelings are hurt doesn't mean that I owe you an apology. Most likely, it means you need to sit your special behind down and listen to this special broadcast. All right? And then the last and the final H, ladies and gentlemen, is because you've guessed it. I am and will always remain the most handsome. All right, many of you are familiar with what we do over here on this side of TikTok, all right? What we do is very, very special. We hold our friends on the right, especially their cult leader, Donald J. Trump, accountable for their dirty, disgusting, filthy deeds as well as their crimes. And believe you me, when it comes to dirty deeds and crimes, it's crystal clear that our friends on the right are the most criminal of all criminals in this country. And so I got a bit of a heads up. If you are a Trump supporter in this live, do me a huge favor. Seriously. If you're a Zeus hater, do me a huge favor. Just leave this live and go on with your miserable morning, all right? Go hang out with those fake TikTok hosts, those liars. These are some of the worst liars that I've ever seen. These are some unstable creatures, all right? And I'm not just saying that just to gaslight you. These are some unstable individuals. You go hang out with them because they will lie to you. I won't lie to you. I have no reason to. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. There's no strings attached. I'm not a hand puppet. They always like to make up things and say things about Zeus, but it's not true. So leave this live because it's going to get uncomfortable. I'm going to be bringing a lot of truth, all right? But I get this. I know you all don't trust me, so you don't got to take my word for it. Listen to your leader.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
Be in the United States of America, leave. And that's from Donald Trump. Those are not my quotes. That rhetoric that you hear me playing, that's not my rhetoric. That's coming straight from your cult leader. So today, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to continue where we left off. There's been a lot that's been happening, but I'm not going to let up on this. I will continue to hold Donald Trump and his legion of MAGA demons accountable for their dirty, disgusting, filthy deeds. All right. But what I want to do is address something that I think is very serious. Number one, to all the Democrats out there, playtime is over. President Biden is our candidate. You really want a chance to win this election? You got to rally behind him. The threat to our democracy couldn't be more of a threat than what we're dealing with right now. These folks have literally placed Donald Trump above Jesus. They said, you know what they're saying? They're saying the court cases can't stop him. Jail can't stop him. And even this latest situation that involved MAGA on MAGA violence can't stop him. So in their minds, Donald Trump is Jesus. All right. So I got something to say about this. First things first. We've all been following the facts surrounding the former president's recent attempt where someone attempted to unalive him. And now that the facts are out, I'm going to say this to the folks on the right. Knock it off. All right. This is about blaming the Democrats. All right. And not taking accountability for what you all have done. I sit here before you once again with a heavy heart and a deep sense of disappointment. In recent days, we have witnessed a troubling trend of false claims and baseless accusations being hurled by some individuals who identified themselves as Trump supporters of a particular figure. You know who you support, Donald Trump. These claims not only seek to sow division and discord amongst us, but they also undermine the very fabric of our democratic society. It is disheartening to see the spread of misinformation, vitriol in our political discourse. The recent barrage of false claims directed at the Democrats by certain Trump supporters is not only irresponsible, but it's also dangerous. These claims seek to demonize and dehumanize those with differing political views, perpetuate a cycle of fear and distrust that only serves to widen the existing divides in our society. And you know exactly who you are, you liars. Let us be clear. Political disagreements are inevitable and indeed necessary in a healthy democracy. However, these disagreements must be based on facts and reasoned arguments, not lies, not conspiracy theories. We must strive to engage in respectful and constructive dialogue, even when we passionately disagree with one another. As citizens of a democratic society, we have a responsibility to hold ourselves and our leaders to high standards. We must reject the political division and the hatred and instead work towards fostering understanding and unity among all members of our community. So in conclusion, and this goes out to MAGA, to the fake TikTok host out there who after this situation that happened over the weekend got on TikTok and you all lied. You all lied and blamed the Democrats without having any evidence to support the claim. And now that the evidence is out, you haven't came and apologized because you know what's going on deep in your heart. You do know that, right? And we see you for what you are, a bunch of liars and a bunch of seditionists, treasonous traitors. In conclusion, I urge you all to resist the temptation to succumb to these falsehoods and distortions that continue to divide us. I ask that you all really do try to come together as Americans. All right. I ask that you all really do try to unite as you've been saying you were going to, which we now found out was a lie. But until you do, ladies and gentlemen, guess what I'm going to do? Join me, ladies and gentlemen, in giving every single Trump supporter what they deserve because they lied on the Democrats. And even right now, with all the information that's out there, they still continue to blame the Democrats. All right. And they do it under the umbrella of unity. Join me in giving them our first round of, you guessed it, booze and shame. y'all want to know what got me back in my bag with MAGA? I was really trying to be civil and peaceful. I really was. But I refuse to be gaslit, all right? I refuse. Now, listen, there are some folks on the right that are MAGA that I can actually have a civil conversation with. My apologies, but you're going to have to catch this heat as well, because you know what? Someone in your party has to hold these people accountable. I'm not in the MAGA party, so I can't do it. But to those that are sensible and reasonable, you got to take this message back to them and let them know Zeus is very upset. Zeus is very, very angry. What got Zeus angry yesterday? Well, I was watching the RNC. You all saw the little RNC shindig up in Milwaukee yesterday. You know, where Donald Trump showed up and he selected that knucklehead J.D. Vance. But what I saw them doing in the crowd, I said, nope. All bets are off. I knew you were liars, but I didn't think you would lie like this. You listen to what they were chanting in the RNC. They were chanting, fight, fight, fight. Did you hear them chanting that? So they're at the RNC chanting, fight, fight, fight. And we all know what that means, right? This is what Donald Trump did after the attempt on his life. He got up and he did this little fist thing, fight, which to me is bizarre. But now MAGA is using that as a rally cry. And the first question I asked is, who are you fighting? Who is MAGA? When you say fight, MAGA, seriously, when you are all chanting fight at the RNC, can I ask you an honest question? Who the heck are you fighting? Who did I miss something? Who are you? Are you fighting yourselves? Who are you fighting, MAGA? Come on now, don't get shy now, because for some strange reason I couldn't help but make the assumption that perhaps you were talking about fighting the Democrats or something, right? I mean, and then I listened to the rhetoric you all were saying, and I said, oh no, they're not tamping down their rhetoric. So of course, we have no other choice but to continue to defend our democracy. And that's just how this is going to be, MAGA. All right? So I don't want to hear it, all right, until you all stop chanting fight and take accountability for what you're saying and doing. You know what? There's a saying, actions speak louder than words. Well, MAGA, your actions in this situation, they actually are aligning with your words. Yeah. You continue to blame Democrats and Joe Biden for something we had absolutely nothing to do with. So guess what we're going to do, ladies and gentlemen? Once again, join me in giving another round of booze and shame to all these Trump supporters who are continuing to try to gaslight us and to make us think that they're victims. If you're a victim, you're only a victim of your own lies. Let's give them another round of, you guessed it, booze and shame. I don't got time for it. I don't have to explain stuff to folks that brand themselves as being more intelligent than me. I really don't owe you an explanation, but playtime is truly over. If you want to really unite as Americans, you got to stop lying. You got to stop lying, and you got to quit trying to gaslight people. All right? We don't believe you anymore. All credibility has been lost, MAGA, after this latest little shindig you pulled. Absolutely not. I'm not going for it. All right, maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe I'm wrong, but you got a lot of explaining to do. So let's move on to our next topic, ladies and gentlemen. Donald Trump, ugly new post. All right, and this is right after, again, he's talking about us uniting. In the wake of the former president, or the attempt to unalive the former president, reports claim that the advisors close to the former president says that he plans to seize his moment by toning down his, they call it Trumpiness. He's going to calm down is what they're telling the American people. And by dialing up efforts to unite a tinderbox America. Because Trump has suddenly stared death in the face, the report suggests he has attained benevolence towards his political foes, which will manifest itself at this week's GOP convention with a, quote, unifying display, as Tucker Carlson told Axios. Someone making an attempt to take your life changes a man. That's what they told him. Tell that to Donald Trump himself. Please, someone tell Donald Trump. Because only a few hours after that report appeared, Trump uncorked a new rant on Truth Social that left zero doubt that he remains fully committed to the range of positions that make Trump and his movement such a profound threat to our democratic stability and country. The very same ones that have done so much to bring about the tinderbox. This led to some folks in the media predicting that predictions of a Trump pivot of a stock joke at the point have imploded yet again, but it should occasion something else too. If media figures are so eager to depict Trump as unifying, then let's lay down a hard metric. Before such claims are made, the absolute minimum threshold he must clear is fully renouncing the authoritarian designs he is threatening to inflict on this country and its people if he is reelected. Has Donald Trump resigned from his authoritarian position in his campaign? Has anyone seen him do that yet? I haven't seen him. Needless to say, that's not going to happen. Here is what Donald Trump said on his Truth Social post. This is what he says. And keep in mind, he said this after he said he was going to unite with us Americans. As we move forward in uniting our nation after the horrific events on Saturday, this dismissal of the lawless indictment in Florida should be just the first step, followed quickly by the dismissal of all the witch hunts. The January 6th hoax in Washington, D.C., the Manhattan DA's zombie case, the New York Attorney General's scam fake claims about a woman I never met, a decades-old photo in a line with her then-husband does not count, and the Georgia perfect phone call charges. The Democrat Justice Department coordinated all of these political attacks, which are an election interference conspiracy against Joe Biden's political opponent, me. Let us come together to end all weaponization of our justice system and make America great again. Note that Trump is positioning himself as a unifying figure when he capitalizes words, he's branding himself, while also reiterating that every single legal proceeding he faces is entirely illegitimate. And note especially his evocation of the January 6th hoax, which really means that Trump remains fully committed to pardoning the January 6th rioters and to canceling the ongoing prosecution of himself for insurrection-related claims. You see, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump isn't toning down the temperature of his rhetoric. He continues to instigate, all right? He's continuing to instigate, and he continues to bash Democrats, despite saying he wouldn't. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, we've caught Donald Trump in another lie, and you know what we must do. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in giving Donald Trump, once again, another round of boos and shame. And the reason we got to give him these boos and shame is because we know the truth. If we didn't know the truth, then you know what? I could actually see myself believing this stuff that this man is saying. But there's too much information out there, ladies and gentlemen. And no one should be walking around here, all right, not fully aware of all of the facts related to what's happened this weekend. Speaking of what happened this weekend, Morning Joe is back, all right? He came back, and he definitely came back with a little pep in his step today, ladies and gentlemen, all right? So let's listen to what Morning Joe had to say, all right? 9 seconds. He flips out over this attempt that was made on the former president's life. And I think this is why a lot of us, we're thrown off, because I get why some people think that this was a stage. I get why some people think this was staged, but I do believe it happened, but there are some questions. So listen up, ladies and gentlemen. Having been taken off the air on Monday, all right, the entire panel on Morning Joe spent the first 35 minutes of Monday's broadcast discussing the attempt on the former president's life. An incredulous Joe Scarborough repeatedly ranted about the Secret Service not sufficiently protecting the former president who quit stopping to exhort the crowd while showing a clip of the events and counting off the 9 seconds that he was exposed as agents hustled him to a waiting car. So let's listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, because this is why there are so many questions out there, ladies and gentlemen.
There's just no satisfactory answer for why that building wasn't secured.
Look at this. Look. 9 seconds. 9 seconds. He's exposed to the crowd. 9 seconds. Still exposed. You're going to put your hand over his head? Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Get on top of him. Again, like they had done. Look at that.
That's not.
Jonathan Lemire. I'm hearing about resources, finite resources. I'm hearing that RFK Jr., his last name, Kennedy.
Yeah.
Doesn't have Secret Service. We have been, before this shooting, a nation on edge. Political rhetoric more violent than any time since the 1960s. This cannot be a question of manpower. This cannot be a question of, look, what are they doing? Again, let me say, that is what a politician is going to do. That is natural instinct to say, I'm okay, I'm all right. I understand why the president did that. I do not understand why the Secret Service around him allowed him to do that. And with a nation on edge, with so much at stake, with a high level of threats out there against both candidates, the consequences of this for this nation, existential. How are we depending on Butler County police officers to protect a presidential candidate and protect America? Because that's what you're doing. You're protecting America. And there are so many things here. The further we get out from the shooting, the questions become all the more disturbing. There is no nice way to put those guys right there. You see those guys right there? Those guys stopped an untold amount of violence right there. You're looking for heroes. There aren't a lot there. Those guys were the heroes that stopped the killing of a president, that stopped political violence, the likes of which we haven't seen in a really long time. And there is just simply, and again, this, Jonathan, there are no good answers. They need to come up with their best answer. It is still going to be inadequate. It's still going to be terrible. The fact that there weren't snipers all on top of that building, Secret Service people or other people protecting Donald Trump, it's just, again, this is just beyond shocking, beyond irresponsible, and everybody involved in the planning of this should lose their job.
Agreed. Everybody involved in the planning of this should lose their job because it makes absolutely no sense. But one thing we do know is true is this had nothing to do with the Democrats. The facts are out there, MAGA. Go look it up. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's give MAGA another round of boos and shame because they still want to blame the Democrats despite the facts that the Democrats were not involved with the planning.
Silence! You MAGA demon!
I see we have some dissension in the audience right now. A lot of you don't like the way that I'm running my broadcast. I get it, but maybe you didn't hear me at the top of the show.
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
You see, MAGA, I'm not a sheep. I'm not gullible. All right? You know what? I mean, you all want to, because we all talked this weekend, right? Okay, Brian. Okay, Brian, come on up here, Brian. All right, see, I thought you were being reasonable, Brian. But see, can you come up here, Brian? And I want you to just listen to me. Don't say a word. Come on up here, Brian. I want you to understand why Zeus is a little on edge today, Brian. Brian, come on up here. Brian, see, this is what I'm saying. Every one of you little MAGA demons that had all that smoke this weekend, isn't it funny how y'all love to hide behind your screens and threaten people and say ridiculous things, but you can't get in the box and stand 10 toes down on it? You want to know why I'm on edge, Brian? Because of the gaslighting. I took this situation very serious. I reached out to people on the right to try to see if they were okay. People I know. And you know what some of those folks did? Not all. They blamed the Democrats. But here we are. What is today? Tuesday. This happened Saturday. And so far, what have we found out? Brian, let me show you what we found out, Brian. All right, hold on. We're going to go right into my next topic, all right? Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. But that's not what I want to do. You want to know what we found out, Brian? Hold on. Number one, we found out that the suspect is MAGA. That's what we found out. We realized that it was at a Trump rally, but the suspect's MAGA. And you all lied. Said it was BLM, Antifa, and FBI stuff like you always do. Since it's been out, not one apology has been issued. So I'm on edge. Yesterday, the news came out that the widow of the victim, Corey and Helen, President Joe Biden himself called this woman to offer her his condolences from him and the First Lady. And she refused to talk to the sitting President of the United States because guess what? Her reasoning was, oh, my husband was a staunch Trump supporter and he wouldn't have wanted me to talk to the President of the United States. So I have no ill will towards Joe Biden, but I won't accept his call. Okay, has Donald Trump reached out to you? No, he hasn't reached out to me. Why hasn't he reached out to you? Oh, because he's out there, riding around in his golf cart. Oh, how un-American. So, as far as I'm concerned, we have a problem in the MAGA cult. You don't even want to take a call from the sitting President of the United States because he's offering his condolences that your husband lost his life. I mean, ma'am, that's your business. That's your prerogative. But don't come around me and start trying to act like y'all the victims, especially when we're giving you all the information. The shooter, I got to clean it up. The suspect, I got to say the suspect. Sorry about that. The suspect was MAGA. Reporting came out, he had Trump signs in his yard. And now this. The father was a staunch Republican, ladies and gentlemen. The father was a strong. I use the word staunch. Strong. How many times have you been on this app and you hear these folks talking about 2A? This is their thing. Ultimate, I'm the strongest. Okay, what has that gotten you? Stop blaming the Democrats. Start looking at the man or woman in the mirror, MAGA. So let's listen to this, and this is more information for you to chew on. The father of the 20-year-old suspect, Thomas Crooks, was previously identified by the former president's campaign as one of the voters in his area most likely to respond favorably to pro-pew pew messaging. So this is data coming from Trump's own campaign, MAGA. So you don't trust mainstream media. You don't trust Democrats. Maybe you'll trust the data coming from Trump's own campaign, because this is about as good as gold. Think about it. That's according to confidential data obtained by Britain's Channel 4 News, which said 53-year-old Matthew Crooks, who legally purchased the AR used by his son as he spoke at Butler, Pennsylvania rally on Saturday, was covertly profiled by the Trump team in 2016 as a strong Republican, likely pew-pew owner and a hunter. The campaign's private database analyzed 6.7 million people in the Keystone State, a crucial background in the race for president, listing Matthew Crooks, a registered libertarian, as among the top 20 prospects of 19,000 residents in the Pittsburgh suburb of Bethel Park. All right. He scored highly across a range of pew-pew related data models. According to the outlets, he was flagged by the Trump team as a voter who could be susceptible to political messages about pew-pew rights. MAGA, what this tells me is Donald Trump has you all figured out. He has all your data, and he's playing you all like a fiddle. He's tapping in to every little emotion that he knows you got, whether it's your racism, your love for those pew-pews, all right, your hatred towards the immigrants. He's playing you all like a fiddle. That's how he continues to lure you to his rallies. And then you get there, who do you blame? The Democrats. Democrats aren't taking your money and lying to you. Donald Trump is. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what we got to do. Join me in giving these Trump supporters who are blind and cannot see what they deserve once again. Another round of, you guessed it, booze and shame. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe you'll wake up. Maybe you'll wake up today.
Silence! You never demon!
Unfortunately, all bets are off. I can't allow I can't allow Trump supporters to be victims around me anymore. The gaslighting seriously needs to stop. Take inventory, MAGA, of what's going on in your cult. It's sick stuff you've gotten yourselves in, ladies and gentlemen. It really is. All right, let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, listen, I'm not advocating for anything dangerous or violent. Booze and shame are the best way, as far as I'm concerned, to disagree with somebody politically, and that's what this is about. All right, but I do got to deliver this truth to you, Trump supporters, unapologetically and as blunt as possible, because there's nothing else I can do in order that could possibly wake you up out of the strong delusions that you have found yourselves in. And like I said at the top of the show, if you don't like the way I'm running it,
If you're not happy here, then you can leave. As far as I'm concerned, if you hate our country, if you're not happy here, you can leave. If you're not happy in the U.S., if you're complaining all the time, very simply, you can leave. You can leave right now. Come back if you want. Don't come back. It's okay too. But if you're not happy, you can leave.
does any Trump supporter have a problem with Donald Trump saying that? Any Trump supporters in here? Are there any Trump supporters in this live? Do you have a problem with Donald Trump saying that kind of stuff, MAGA? Do you have a problem with Donald Trump saying anything like this?
And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Did you hear that Democrat right there say fight like hell, MAGA? Did you hear him say that? Did you hear the Democrat say fight like hell, MAGA? Listen up.
And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Oh, that was Trump, and you agree. You don't have a problem with the rhetoric? Do you have a problem with this?
Every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists indict me, I consider it a great badge of courage.
Did you hear him call the Democrats radical left, Marxist, communist, fascist? Are you okay with that, MAGA? I mean, I thought you were trying to unite. I thought you wanted peace and love. You wanted to come together. So you're okay with it. But that was a Democrat that said that. Listen, this is a Democrat.
Deranged Jack Smith.
Oh, wait a minute, no.
And he's a big Trump hater. Openly, he's a Trump hater. And his wife is even more of a Trump hater.
Who talks about someone's wife? I thought talking about people's wives was off limits. Wow. Wow.
Every time everyone knows he's, and I wouldn't have said this 3 weeks ago. I wouldn't have said it. I was actually very kind to him. I was very kind to him, but now we can't be kind anymore because the gloves are off. The jar has been opened.
The gloves are off and the jar has been opened? What the heck does that mean? MAGA, can you explain that to Zeus? I know you can't because you're in a strong delusion. That's why I say you got the MAGA demon, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move it on. Like I said, I just can't allow MAGA to be victims around me because they still don't get it. You gaslit us this entire weekend, and then you're back to doing what you've been doing the entire time. So I'm not falling for it. I tried it. You can't say I didn't give them a try. A lot of you seen me. Wasn't I really there? I was really there. But after yesterday, no, I just can't do it. All right, so let's listen to Rachel Maddow, ladies and gentlemen. Bring some more truth. She drops the hammer on J.D. Vance for his history as a Trump hater. Ladies and gentlemen, you know J.D. Vance is now the VP on the Republican ticket. He is willing to do what Mike Pence wouldn't do. What did Mike Pence not want to do? Mike Pence said he won't put Donald Trump above the United States Constitution. But J.D. Vance will. All right.
Was nominated to be Trump's running mate. Mr. Vance worked as a CNN contributor. He was a public affairs officer in Iraq with the United States Marine Corps. But as a running mate for Donald Trump, it is unavoidable to note that his record of remarks about Trump is one that I think could reasonably be described as rich. Maybe that's the word, rich.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him.
It makes you think that at a fundamental level, this is sort of a he said, she said, right? And at the end of the day, do you believe Donald Trump, who always tells the truth? Just kidding. Or do you believe that woman on that tape?
I cannot stand Trump because I think he's a fraud. Well, I think he's a total fraud that is exploiting these people, who is a total fraud.
Like I said, I agree with you on Trump because I don't think that he's the person, I don't think he actually cares about folks.
So, as a conservative who thinks that Trump does not have the answers and isn't qualified to be president, what are you going to do this election, if you don't mind saying?
My current plan is to vote either third party, or as I joke to my wife, I might ride in my dog, because that's about as good as it seems. But, you know, I think there's a chance, if I feel like Trump has a really good chance of winning, that I might have to hold my nose and vote for Hillary Clinton. Ultimately, I think I'll probably vote third party. I might vote for this new guy who I really like, Evan McMullin, who I actually met the other day. But I think that I'm going to vote for.
Well, hold on, ladies and gentlemen. We just got a warning on the live, all right? I'm going to shut it down, and I'm going to restart, all right? Apparently, I'm telling too much truth, all right? So to the people who continue to report, this one is for you. And I'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.